Drones, drones. Everywhere these days, huh? And not always for good reasons. I mean, we've all seen those creepy videos, especially the ones from New Jersey. Yikes.
Yeah, it's unsettling.
But today, we're going to dive into something a bit closer to home for us. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's right.
Not good.
No, not at all. You guys shared some articles with us, one from WHIO TV7 about, well, the incident, and then another one that kind of looks at this nationwide drone thing.
Yeah, the mystery.
Exactly, the mystery. So let's just jump right in. What exactly went down at Wright-Pat, and why should any of this even matter to us?
Well, it's kind of like we're watching a real-life thriller, you know? Picture this. Friday night, people are just chilling, getting ready for the weekend, and bam! Wright-Patterson, I mean, we're talking a major Air Force base, is forced to shut down its entire airspace because of drones.
Wow.
And not just for a few minutes either. We're talking a total shutdown that lasted for, get this, about 4 hours.
4 hours.
Straight into the early morning.
That is a serious closure. The report says it was all because of what they're calling small unmanned aerial systems. I'm guessing that's the official term for these things?
Yeah, the technical jargon.
Okay, but hold on. Back it up for a sec. Can you explain what exactly restricted airspace even means? And why does it matter so much when something like this happens?
Right, good question. So, restricted airspace is essentially any area where aircraft are either completely banned or very tightly controlled. Think like military bases, government buildings, sometimes even the areas around huge sporting events. It's all about safety and security, right? So when unidentified drones just show up in these zones, everyone freaks out. I mean, it's a huge red flag. And in this case, it was serious enough to completely shut down the airspace over Wright-Patterson.
And Wright-Pat's saying that, thankfully, no residents or buildings or anything were actually affected.
Right.
But let's be real, drones buzzing around the place like that, that's got to make people nervous, right?
Of course. And it's not just some paranoid fantasy. Think about it. Drones these days come in all shapes and sizes. They can do so much.
Yeah, true.
Some are basic, like toys almost, but others, super sophisticated. We're talking potential for spying, causing chaos, even carrying, dangerous stuff.
It's a little scary when you put it like that. So at Wright-Patterson, we don't actually know what kind of drones we're even dealing with.
Nope.
Like how capable they were or what they were even trying to do.
Exactly. It's a big question mark.
And that's got to be part of what makes this whole thing so unsettling.
Absolutely. And the WHIO report actually quotes one of the locals, a guy named Ryan Zmuda. He's understandably freaked out. He talks about, national security and our airspace being wide open. And I bet a lot of people are feeling the same way right now because it's not just what happened, it's what could have happened, right?
It's chilling. It's like someone planted this seed of doubt. If they had to shut down the airspace, what were they so worried about? And that brings us to that second article you shared. This one really blows things wide open.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently what happened at Wright-Patterson, it's not just some isolated incident.
Right.
There's this whole pattern of unexplained drone sightings popping up all over the U.S.
Yeah, and the article mentions New Jersey as a hotspot, but it seems like this is happening everywhere. And that's where it gets really interesting and kind of creepy, if you ask me. We've got all these reports, people seeing them, sometimes even videos, but almost no answers about who's behind them or what they want. Feels like we've walked into a real X-Files episode or something.
Oh, you're going there.
I mean, come on, these mysterious objects in the sky and no one knows who's flying them or what they're up to.
Okay, let's not get too carried away. We are talking about drones here, not alien spaceships or anything. I mean, doesn't that mean someone has to be controlling them?
Well, yeah.
Like a person with a reason. Right. Even if we don't know what it is yet.
Of course there's a pilot, but that's the thing. It makes it even more complicated.
How so?
Well, the world of drones, it's so diverse. You could have a kid in their backyard just messing around. Or a company taking aerial photos for their business. Or, maybe someone with bad intentions using it to spy or, something even worse.
So how do we even approach a situation like this? We've got this incident at Wright-Patterson, then all these other weird drone sightings all over the country. Where do we even start trying to figure this out?
I think step one is admitting that we're dealing with something that's changing faster than we can keep up with.
Interesting.
I mean, think about it. Drones are super cheap now. Almost anyone can get one. And that's great for innovation and all the good stuff it can do. But it also means we're way behind when it comes to security and rules.
So it's we gave everyone these super powerful tools, but we forgot to write the instruction manual.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And that's where all these concerns about national security and people's freedom, start to clash.
Makes sense.
It's tricky. We want to encourage people to be creative and use these things responsibly. But we also have to think about the risks.
Yeah.
Like, how do we protect places like Wright-Patterson? And how do we keep people safe in public spaces without being like, Big Brother?
Tough questions.
Yeah. And they don't have easy answers, especially when you factor in how diverse drone tech actually is. Like you said, some are basically toys and others are incredibly advanced. So how do you even create rules for something like that? What works for a hobbyist flying a drone in the park probably won't work for a drone that can carry a heavy payload.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's why Wright-Patterson is such a wake-up call.
Mm-hmm.
It forces us to ask some hard questions. What are the limits of what's okay? Where does harmless fun cross the line into something dangerous?
Feels like we're walking a tightrope here.
Yeah.
On one side, we don't want to stop innovation or freak out and make a ton of restrictive rules.
Right.
But on the other side, we can't ignore the fact that these things can be dangerous.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's all about balance.
Yeah.
And I think the first step is talking about it openly and honestly. We need to bring in people who really know this stuff from different fields, tech, security, law enforcement, to figure out how to regulate them in a way that works and also respects people's freedoms.
And that's something we all can do,
Yeah.
right? Even if we're not, experts or whatever.
Yeah.
Learn about the tech, understand the risks, and be part of the conversation about what the future of drones should look like.
Exactly. We all have a role in this. And hopefully, as those investigations keep going, we'll have more to go on.
Yeah, more info would be good.
The more we know about who's flying these things and what they're up to, the better we can come up with solutions that work.
That's a good point. Right now, there are just so many unknowns. And that always makes people anxious.
Sure.
But as things become clearer, hopefully some of that fear will die down and we can focus on finding the best way forward.
But let's be honest. Focusing on the scary stuff is always more captivating, isn't it? Like, what if these drones are actually up to something shady? I mean, it's easy to get caught up in the what ifs, right? All the worst case scenarios.
Yeah, it's human nature, I guess.
Totally. But while we're waiting for more answers about these mysterious drones, I think it's important to remember that there's another side to this whole thing. And that's what I want to talk about with you now.
Okay, yeah.
It's the part that doesn't always make the headlines,
Right.
All the stuff about security risks and those unexplained sightings, that's what grabs everyone's attention.
Yeah, it's scary.
But it's crucial to remember that drones can actually be incredibly powerful tools for good.
Oh, absolutely.
We're talking about tech that's already making a positive impact in tons of different fields, and that potential is only going to get bigger in the future.
Sure. Okay, so let's talk about that. Paint us a picture. What are some of the ways drones are being used right now to, actually benefit society?
Well, think about search and rescue operations. Like, after a natural disaster, imagine an earthquake has just hit and a building's been completely leveled.
Oh, wow.
First responders are there, but they need to know if anyone's trapped under the rubble, Fred.
Yeah, of course.
In the past, that would have been a really slow and dangerous process.
I can imagine.
But now, they can send in a drone with thermal imaging cameras. The drone can quickly scan the whole area, pick up heat signatures, and tell the rescue teams exactly where to find survivors.
Wow.
It gives them a huge advantage.
You're talking about literally saving lives with this technology. That's incredible. What else? What other applications come to mind?
Oh, so many. Like infrastructure inspection. Instead of sending workers to climb up those huge bridges or power lines, which is super dangerous.
Yeah.
We can use drones to do it safely.
Much safer.
They can capture detailed images with high-res cameras, so engineers can spot potential problems before they turn into, a major disaster.
So it's like having a super-powered eye in the sky.
Exactly. And it doesn't stop there. Drones are being used to keep tabs on wildlife, track deforestation, deliver medicine to remote areas, even help farmers get better crop yields with that precision agriculture stuff.
Wow, I had no idea.
The possibilities are pretty much endless.
So here we are. We have this incredible technology, right? It can revolutionize industries, solve some of our biggest problems, even save lives, like you said.
Right.
And yet here we are freaking out about some weird lights in the sky.
It's understandable, though.
It does seem a little over the top, though, doesn't it?
I mean, I think it's just a natural human reaction to be afraid of what we don't understand.
Right.
And when you add in all the potential risks we've talked about, it makes sense why people are worried. But we can't let that fear control how we deal with this tech. We need to recognize the risks, of course, but also be open to the incredible potential that drones have.
It's like anything else, right?
Yeah.
Cars, airplanes, the internet. They all had risk when they first came out.
For sure.
But we learned how to manage those risks. And now, could you imagine life without them?
Nope.
Me neither. And I think that's the challenge we're facing with drones right now. It's about finding that sweet spot. How do we use their power, but also keep things safe?
It's a tough one.
And it's going to take everyone working together. We need policymakers, industry leaders, researchers, even just everyday people to all chip in.
Absolutely. A collective effort.
So what does that actually look like? What can we do to make sure the future of drones is, responsible and actually benefits us?
Well, for one, we need to keep investing in research and development. That means figuring out how to make drones even safer, more reliable, and more secure.
Makes sense.
We also need to come up with clear rules that make sense. Regulations that keep people safe, but also don't stifle innovation.
Right. And I think education is huge too, right?
Absolutely.
The more people understand about this technology, the better we'll be at making good decisions about how we use it and regulate it.
Couldn't agree more. We need to, demystify drones.
Yeah.
Help people understand how they work, what they can do, the good stuff and the bad.
It's about creating a culture of, responsible drone use.
Exactly.
And that starts with open conversations, making smart choices, and being willing to adapt as this technology keeps changing.
I think you nailed it. The future of drones is, in a lot of ways, up to us.
Yeah.
The decisions we make now will determine how they shape our world in the future.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of drones, let's leave our listeners with something to think about. We've talked about the mystery behind those unexplained drone sightings, the security implications, and all the big societal questions they raise. But we've also highlighted how incredible this technology can be, how it can solve problems, save lives, and connect us in new ways. So the question for you, dear listener, is this. In a world where drones are becoming more and more common, what role do you see them playing in your life? And what are you willing to do to make sure that future is a good one?
That's a great question to leave them with. It's the future full of possibilities, both exciting and, a little scary.
Definitely.
The most important thing is that we approach it with open minds and stay engaged.
That's it for this episode of The Deep Dive. Thanks for listening, everyone.